Hello everyone, once again this is apt-s, and today we'll be going over variables in C++. If you'd like to learn about variables in your preferred language, well, I have videos up that go over variables in Python, Java, or C#. So let's get down to the main idea. So what is a variable? Much like in mathematics, variables can be a letter, or it's just something that represents another thing. So in algebra we have the letter x and it represents a number such as 5, or we have the letter y and it represents 0. In programming, we have a variable that represents text or a number or something else. And so in programming, a variable is a container that just holds a value. And with that value, we can perform operations on it. So it's a pretty nifty tool that we have. So let's go ahead and get started. So how do we make a variable in C++? So in C++ we have different types of variables. We have an int, we have a string, we have a double, a char, and a float. So, and there's other variables, but we'll just go ahead and focus on the very simple ones today. So an int, string, double, char, float. These are the very basic variables that we have. And so let's go ahead and just get started with an int. And so to declare a variable in C++, all we do is say the name type. So we say int right here, right? And we give it a name. So let's give it x. And we use the operator equal. And we give it a value, let's say 10. And this operator equals is, we don't really call it the equals operator, we call it the sign operator because equal is a little bit different. So whenever you see this operator, just the single equals, it just means assigned. And so what it's saying is, we're saying the value x now holds this value. So anytime we reference x, we will know that x is 10. So 10 is assigned to x. And so this is just a very simple way of declaring a variable. In C++, we give it its variable type, which is an int, its name, the sign operator, and the value. So we also can make a string, and a string is a little bit different from an int because it holds text instead of numbers. So we string, call it string, assign, and we'll assign it the value, we'll just say hello. Hello there. And there you go, there's a string. Oh, that's a P. No, that's not. No. Hello there. And so that's how we make a string in C++. We have its type, string, its name, and assign it the text hello there. And we also can give it a number like this. And this is not a number. We can't actually perform mathematical operations on it. It's just text, so we can't divide it, subtract it, multiply. We can't do any of that. Notice I have this include string up here. If you want to work with strings, you're going to need to include string. All right. We also can make what we call a double, and let's call it dub. Double equals, or assigns, excuse me. We'll assign it the value. Sorry, assign it 3.14. Alright. And a double is a little bit different from an integer because a double can hold a fractional portion, unlike an integer. So it can be a fractional number. And so that's why a double is a little bit more handy in C++. So let's say we wanted to change this x here. So if we wanted to change our value here, because x right now is a 10, let's say we don't want it to be 10. Let's say we want it to be 20. Well, we could easily just do this, x is 20. But what if we wanted to change it after? So let's set this back to 10. So to change the value of our variable, all we have to do is type in the name, x is equal to 20. And sorry, x is assigned to 20. And so now we give it a reassignment. So x is no longer 10, but it's 20. This is very handy. Sometimes we need to have the variable represent one number in one instance, and then later on change its value. And so that's how you reassign a variable, we also can do dub is equal assigned to 2.71, or also known as Euler's number. So let's just go ahead and delete that. So what if we didn't want our number to ever change? What if we wanted dub to always be 3.14? And let's give it actually a better name. So let's give it pi. So pi is a constant. Its value never changes. And so how do we make a number, a variable, a constant? All we have to do is type in the keyword const here. And so const double pi makes it so that if we want to change pi, so pi is equal to 2.71, we'll see that we'll get an error right here. So we got an error mark right there, and we got the error mark because it's a constant. We can't reassign it a value. We can't change it. So pi is always going to be 3.14, and we can't change it. But without that const, if we just get rid of that const, we'll see that the error goes away. We can change it. So const, what it does is it makes the variable unchangeable. We can't reassign it a value. Also in C++, we have operations that we can perform on variables, and so we'll just go over the very basic ones, such as plus, minus, add, plus, minus, multiply, divide. And to do that, all we have to do is say x or pi or whatever actual number variable we have. We say x plus 1. And that all it does is adding 1 to x. So when we reference x again, it's going to be 11. Well, here in this instance, if we want to change it, actually change it, we have to do x plus equals 1. And so after this statement, x will be 11. If we just left it like this, x is only 11 here. But after this, when we go to the next statement, if we reference x again, x plus 2, x is not going to be 13, x is going to be 12 here. So if we want to actually change x, add just 1 to it, or any number to it, we'd say plus equals a number, so plus equals 15, or plus equals 20, whatever we want to add to it. We also can do multiply equals. What that does is just takes 2, multiplies it by whatever x is, and then reassigns it to x. So 2 times 10 is 20, and now x will be 20. We also can divide it, divide equals by 2. And what this does is it just divides it by 2 and reassigns it to x, so x will be 5 now. So that's how we can operate with variables. We also can do the minus equals. So once again, we have plus equals, minus equals, divide equals, and multiply equals. And so those are all the reassignment operations we can do. We also have what we call a decrement and increment. So what if we just wanted to change x by 1? What if we didn't want to have to say x plus equals 1? That's a lot to write, right? So we could just do x plus plus. And what that does is it just adds 1 to x. We also can do x minus minus. And what that does is it subtracts 1 from x, so x would be 9. So those are some of the very simple operators that we can perform on variables. We can also take a variable, x is plus equals, and let's actually make another int here. Int y equals 2. And we can say x plus equals y. So what we're doing is we're taking whatever y is, which is 2, and we're adding it to x. And so x would now be 12. We also can do x plus y, or something like x minus y. And in that instance, it would just subtract y from x. And after the statement, x would be 10 again. But right here, it would be 8. And so I hope this helped a little bit on understanding variables.